I knew something was wrong the moment I walked into the office and saw a stranger's muddy sneakers on my desk. A young man, barely 25, was sitting in my chair like he owned the place. He had frosted tips, a vape, and zero awareness of how things actually worked. He smiled and said, "You must be Donna. My dad said you'd be chill." Then he took a selfie from my desk and posted it online with the caption, "Finally running this place." I didn't react. I'd seen this type before, spoiled, loud, and completely unqualified. I had spent years building the systems that kept the company running. People like him came and went. I just never expected one of them to be dropped into my seat. I looked at his post and realized something important. He had just made a public statement during an active acquisition. And I knew exactly what clause in the contract would apply. Clause 7. Any public misrepresentation of authority could trigger immediate termination of the deal. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I just printed the acquisition documents, highlighted the clause, attached his post, and sent it to legal. Then I packed a small box, my mug, my USB, and a photo of my dog. I left my badge on the desk and walked out. No one understood what was happening yet, but I did, because, well, everyone else saw a careless kid. I saw a legal trigger that could collapse a multi-million-dollar deal. At legal, panic started quickly. They checked the post. They checked the timestamp. They confirmed it was real. The boy hadn't just acted stupid, he had done it publicly, inside the company, during a live acquisition, and worse, he was the CEO's son. News spread fast. The Bears lawyers asked for clarification. The board got involved. Emails started flying. People demanded answers. Then they realized something worse. I wasn't in my office anymore. They needed me to explain the systems, the contracts, the architecture, but I had already left, and I had left everything structured so that key parts of the system were tied to my own consulting company, quietly, legally, correctly. They thought they owned the system. They didn't. By the time leadership understood what Clause 7 really meant, the bear had already paused the deal. Then came the emails. Then the legal warnings. Then the full stop. Acquisition suspended. The company panicked. Meetings turned into arguments. Leadership blamed each other. Everyone tried to fix something they didn't understand. But the damage wasn't just the post. It was everything built around it. The system dependencies, the contracts, the licensing layers, they all traced back to me. And I wasn't there to untangle it. The board finally asked the question that mattered. Where is Donna? But by then, I had already stepped out of the system. The CEO tried to recover the situation, but it was too late. Legal exposure was already triggered. The bear pulled back. Trust collapsed. Then the truth came out in full. Parts of the company's core system were licensed through my own consulting company with protections they hadn't noticed. They couldn't just replace me. They couldn't bypass it. And they couldn't force it. Everything had been set up properly years earlier in case things ever went wrong. And now they had. Eventually, the board removed the CEO. The deal fell apart. The company went into emergency restructuring. Then I got a message. The bear wanted to talk directly to me. No company. No CEO. Just me. I agreed. They asked if I would license the system independently. I said yes, but only under my terms, higher rate, full control, and a seat on the board. They accepted. I didn't celebrate. I didn't react. I just signed. The company moved on under new terms. The old leadership was gone. The system now ran under my control and agreements. Later, I sat at home watching the storm outside, drinking tea. My phone kept buzzing with new offers from companies that suddenly wanted my attention. I didn't rush. I didn't answer quickly. I had already learned the most important rule. You don't need to shout when the system is built correctly. You just need to walk away and let it work.